They say with time comes wisdom, and while I may be far from wise yet, I have learned a good number of things on my journey as a self-releasing artist. Many of those things, I've never even spared a thought when starting out, so let me distill some of the gotchas and hoops that you might need to jump through if you walk down this exciting path. Well, maybe let's start out with the most brutal truth that I've found so far. Getting yourself and your music heard is hard, and to some extent that's not surprising. Today it's so, I want to say easy, but that's not true, maybe affordable to make music, that there is a vast ocean of song material out there, and that means that getting your track to the right audience is a bigger challenge than making the track in the first place. One of the most crucial things that I came to learn about was how to market yourself, how ads and advertising in general is ultimately necessary to get your music right in front of someone, and then it still needs to be convincing enough for them to click on it and listen to it. I might be doing a whole crash course on meta ads, changes introduced by the latest Andromeda update, etc. if you're interested in that topic. Let me know in the comments down below. And traction takes time, yes. You might have a fantastic song idea, you might even have a killer song. And also, yes, we do hear about, overnight stardom, but this rarely happens. And even if someone is, suddenly famous, it does not mean that there were years and years of work leading up to this viral moment. Different bands, different styles, songs, content, etc., etc. Finding the right distributor is key. I recently did a video on key factors for finding the right distributor, and if you haven't seen it yet, I invite you to check it out, but I can only reiterate that making the right choice here is key. It comes down to the money you can earn while you build your fan base, the rights you own, and how you can use and push your own content. It's, it's somehow funny, because a lot of people would just go with whoever is listed first in the search results, but oftentimes there are downsides here, maybe hidden along the lines, that can hinder you from making fast progress in the future. And no, there is no best. There is only a best for you at a given moment. If you get radio play or want to protect your songs intellectually, you will need to sign up with the respective agencies in your country. This could be BMI, ASCAP, MLC, or other royalty collection agencies, depending on where you live and which markets you want to cover. Some of them have more specific requirements than others. Some incur membership fees, either one-time or ongoing, so make sure to know how much it costs to actually get a payout when your music does eventually get played. And you have to pitch a lot. In the age of playlisting and musical abundance, it's ever more important to get your tracks onto a playlist. Playlists get your music heard by the right target audiences. There are a lot of different platforms that can help you with that, SubmitHub, for example, being one of them, but you can also use the existing management portals of the respective services like Spotify Artists or Apple Music for Artists to pitch directly to the service, cutting out the middleman. The hard truth is that it's potentially as likely to not get playlisted as it is to get playlisted. Some songs surely have more potential than others, but at the end of the day, I've seen a lot of videos online suggesting that some decisions are not entirely transparent. And that brings me to the next point. Claim your profile. At the very least, for the most important streaming services. This means you can add press text, pictures and other details to your artist page, as well as seeing in-depth analytics, oftentimes at a much higher resolution than on your DSP portal. This also means a lot of maintenance. Being a self-releasing artist comes with a load of data entry and data upkeep. Well, another side of that coin is you have to beware of scammy tactics. Lots of services will want to offer you listeners or want to sell you follows, but most of them use bots or other means to artificially generate interests in your song. Next to this, putting you at risk of your music being removed from the affected service, artificially increased numbers do little for building a fan base. It is true that metrics like saves, playlisting and obviously listens are used to feed the algorithm, but if longevity and security of your published material is your goal, I would not touch those offers with a 10-foot pole. Making music is expensive and is hard work. I guess this is true for almost any art form, right? Or form of art. It's oftentimes a lot of hard work and can cost you more money than you earn, at the very least initially. It's just something to be aware of, but don't let that guide your decision to release music. We would not have some of the amazing works nowadays if someone did not make a leap of faith somewhere. And lastly, I do not really talk much about AI here and how this changes the whole musical landscape, and I also want to state that none of the music that I create uses AI, but I still want to quickly talk about whether I would have chosen a musical career if I would have known that AI and tools like Suno, for example, would happen. And the answer is still a very solid Yes, revolutions and changes across industries have and will always happen, but art is something that I deeply believe needs to be expressed and be put out there. Sure, things will be different, that maybe what we'll see is a renaissance of, like handmade music, like artisan bread, right? I'm very much using digital plugins and virtual instruments for lots of things already, so I was and am part of one revolution already. Let's see what this one will bring. The only constant is change, and as an artist, you will need to define and redefine yourself over and over again. So if you're up for the challenge, there's no better day than today.